Hi, welcome to another video. So, things are getting very interesting in the AI coding model space once again. Anthropic may be preparing Mythos 1 for Claude Code and Claude Security. Claude Opus 4.8 may also be right around the corner, and at the same time, GPT 5.6 rumors are starting to appear through Codex logs, internal model tags, and some early-looking front-end generations. But the important thing here is that one side has a lot of official evidence behind it, while the other side is still mostly leaks and speculation. So let's get right into it. First, let's talk about Claude Mythos. Anthropic originally revealed Claude Mythos Preview in April as an unreleased general-purpose frontier model with extremely strong coding and cybersecurity abilities. Instead of releasing it normally to everyone, Anthropic launched Project Glasswing. The idea is to first give selected security teams and open-source developers access to Mythos, so they can find and patch serious vulnerabilities before similar models become broadly available. Anthropic committed up to $100 million in Mythos usage credits for this work, plus $4 million in direct donations to open-source security organizations. So, this is not just a small experiment. They are treating Mythos as a major security project. And now, we have actual results as well. In an update, published on May 22nd, Anthropic said that Mythos Preview has already been used across more than 1,000 open-source projects. Based on its current post-triage true positive rate, Anthropic says the model is on track to have surfaced nearly 3,900 high or critical-severity vulnerabilities in open-source software, separate from vulnerabilities found for Project Glasswing partners. Now, whether every single one of these findings becomes a serious exploitable bug is something we will need more detail on. But even with that caveat, this is pretty significant. This matters for coding agents because if a model is extremely good at understanding large code bases deeply enough to find hidden vulnerabilities, it could also be a huge upgrade for debugging, refactoring, code review, and generally working inside complex repositories. And this is where the new leak gets interesting. According to Testing Catalog, new traces point to a product called Mythos 1, with the preview model identifier Claude Mythos 1 Preview being prepared for Claude Code and Claude Security. They also found references mentioning access to the Claude Mythos model in Claude Code and Claude Security. On top of that, Anthropic appears to be developing a Claude Security dashboard for enterprise customers, where teams could see discovered vulnerabilities, severity breakdowns, historical charts, and triage results. If this is accurate, then Anthropic may not be planning to release Mythos as a normal chat model first. It could initially arrive as a carefully controlled coding and security model inside Claude Code and enterprise security workflows. And honestly, that would make sense. If the biggest risk is that Mythos can discover and exploit vulnerabilities at scale, then putting it inside defensive tools with access controls and auditing is a much more realistic first step than simply putting it in a public model picker. However, take it with a grain of salt. Anthropic has officially confirmed Mythos Preview, Project Glasswing, and its long-term goal of safely deploying Mythos-class models. But Anthropic has not officially announced Mythos 1 in Claude Code, public availability, usage limits, or pricing. And pricing will be extremely important here. A powerful model is good, but if running it on a large repository is extremely expensive or heavily restricted, it may only be useful for enterprises and security researchers at first. Now, Mythos is not the only Anthropic model that is showing up in leaks. Testing Catalog also reports that Claude Opus 4.8 is rumored to be in preparation for release, with selected Anthropic partners apparently already conducting internal evaluations. On top of that, a screenshot shared on X claims that a model identifier called Claude Opus 4.8 has appeared on Google Vertex. This is interesting because Google Vertex is already one of the major places where enterprise developers access Claude models, and when a new model name begins appearing on a cloud platform, it is usually a sign that back-end preparations or partner testing may be happening. But again, that does not mean the model is publicly available. There is no official Opus 4.8 announcement from Anthropic yet, no model card, no confirmed benchmarks, no API pricing, and no official release date. Still, Opus 4.8 could be the more important release for normal Claude Code users in the short term. The reason is simple. Mythos may initially remain controlled, security-focused, or enterprise-only because of its vulnerability discovery capabilities. Opus 4.8, on the other hand, could become the regular top-tier model available for coding, agentic tasks, and daily Claude Code usage. Opus 4.7 is currently Anthropic's strongest broadly available Opus model, while Mythos sits above it with restricted access. So, an Opus 4.8 release could potentially bring some of the coding and reasoning improvements closer to regular developers without fully releasing Mythos itself. Of course, we do not know if that is actually the plan. Anthropic could release Opus 4.8 as a normal iterative upgrade while keeping Mythos as a separate high-risk security model. Or it could use Opus 4.8 to test stronger safeguards and move closer toward broader Mythos class releases later. Either way, having both Mythos 1 and Opus 4.8 appear around the same time would tell us that Anthropic is preparing upgrades on two fronts: a tightly controlled security and advanced coding model, and a more practical flagship model that regular Claude Code users may actually get to use. Anyway, now let's come to GPT 5.6. Unlike Mythos, GPT 5.6 has not been officially announced by OpenAI. The first major clue came from reports that a GPT 5.6 label briefly appeared inside Codex routing logs while most requests were still targeting GPT 5.5. The developer who spotted it later described it as potentially a canary test or even a bug. For those who don't know, canary testing basically means that a company quietly routes a very small amount of real traffic through an experimental model to see how it performs before a wider release. So if the log was genuine, it could mean that some GPT 5.6 build exists and is being evaluated for Codex-style coding workloads, but it does not prove that it is about to release. Another leak shared on X shows a model called Iris Alpha supposedly generating a notes application called Lumen Notes. According to the post, this was created without extra UI guidance, using the default prompt. And from the screenshot, it does look cleaner than the usual generic AI-generated dashboard. The layout is simple, there is good spacing, and it does not look overloaded with random gradients, giant cards, and unnecessary design elements. There are also claims that other internal tags, including Ember Alpha and Beacon Alpha, have appeared during development, possibly pointing to multiple variants being tested. Some leaks are also showing a GPT 5.6 thinking label, and people are speculating that there could be both a standard GPT 5.6 model and a GPT 5.6 Pro version. But to be very clear, none of those names or variants have been officially confirmed by OpenAI. What OpenAI did officially confirm is also very interesting. On May 20, OpenAI announced that an internal general-purpose reasoning model disproved a long-standing conjecture related to an 80-year-old mathematics problem by Paul Erdos. That is important because it suggests OpenAI has a much stronger reasoning model working internally. And if that reasoning capability transfers to coding, debugging, and agentic workflows, it could become a major upgrade for Codex. However, OpenAI never said this math model is GPT 5.6. It could be related, or it could be a separate research model entirely, so I would not treat that as confirmation. There are also rumors that GPT 5.6 could arrive in June, potentially alongside other upcoming model releases. But right now, there is no official release date, no official benchmark, no API pricing, and no confirmed context window from OpenAI. And for me, the main question is not whether it can generate one cleaner notes app. I want to see whether it can build a complete project without constantly breaking things, whether it can debug a real repository properly, whether its front-end generation actually stays clean across different prompts, and how much it costs to use inside Codex. So the overall situation is pretty simple. So Anthropic's Mythos is real. Its cybersecurity results are officially being reported, and the leak suggests that Mythos 1 may be moving toward Claude Code and Claude Security. Alongside that, Opus 4.8 is now appearing in rumors and alleged Vertex listings, potentially giving regular Claude Code users a more accessible upgrade path. GPT 5.6, on the other hand, looks increasingly believable as an internal OpenAI project, especially because of the Codex log reports and these new model tags. But its release date, capabilities, variants, and relationship to OpenAI's math breakthrough are still unconfirmed. Either way, June could be a very interesting month for AI coding. We could see Mythos begin moving into controlled Claude Code and security workflows, Opus 4.8 arrive as Anthropic's next normal flagship upgrade, and GPT 5.6 enter the race from OpenAI's side. If even half of these rumors become real products, then Claude Code and Codex may both get some very serious upgrades. Overall, it's pretty cool. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this video, consider donating through the Super Thanks option or becoming a member by clicking the Join button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.